I had a truly horrendous day today, and not all the parts of it were horrendous, but I am left today, toward the end of the day, feeling really sore, um, just emotionally spent and sore. Um, and the reason is that Arden and I either wisely or unwisely got a cat. We adopted a cat. Um, I blame Arden for that shit. But the cat is very cute. We named her Coco Violet. And she's a very sweet cat, but she doesn't like to be picked up. And we've had to take her to the vet. And it's a much bigger story that maybe I'll get into some other time. But we suspect that she has ringworm, possibly. We're not sure. They couldn't find anything on her, so we had to take her to the vet on Thursday, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare because she won't be picked up. Then, she's extremely skittish about, we couldn't get her into the carrier. We could not get her into the carrier. It was 2.5 hours of me begging, cajoling, trying to convince, trying to trick, to the point that, I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this. And it ended up, because of Arden, it ended up being really funny at certain points. Or I could see the humor while it was happening. We got her to the vet, over an hour late. I was begging them to please take her. They acquiesced. We got her to the vet. But they said that she would have to come back this weekend for a lime and sulfur bath. So in order to get her ready for that, I would need to get her a sedative and then also pay for this bath. And, to get her the sedative to be able to get her back into the duffel bag more peacefully this time. Well, I got the sedative. I followed the instructions that I was given at the vet, and the sedative did absolutely motherfucking nothing. And this time, if it was a nightmare before, this time it was like an unfucking believable nightmare. As in, by the time we were done, we had to overturn the couch to make sure she couldn't hide under it. The coffee table was damn near flipped over. Everything had to be, it looked like, Arden said, oh my God, the living room looks like a war zone. And I had to agree. And this time, I did a little screaming, shouting before, whatever. But this time, I really, really, really fucking lost my shit, because I'd had to get up at 4:30 this morning to give her dose number 2 of this sedative that did absolutely fucking nothing. Oh, and we had to be at the place at 7 something this morning on a weekend. This is an unholy time of day to have to be anywhere. This time the cat got loose in the living room before we were able to trap her in the bathroom. This time Miss Coco got loose in the living room and could hide, and we have an open concept space and everything. So she's darting into the kitchen, she's going everywhere, and I'm losing my shit. And Arden, because she's a fucking asshole, is trying not to laugh at her mommy losing her shit. And so it's like a really, really bad comedy of errors where we just cannot capture this cat, who is not being mean. She's just frightened. She's just frightened, and she doesn't like being picked up. So finally, I capture her, and it was not pretty, but I did catch the goddamn cat. And by the time I get to the vet's office, like I'm just like, you know, the vet assistant is talking to me or whatever, and I'm just crying, you know, I'm just like, just openly weeping at this point, and he's just acting like it's not happening, and I'm like, I really don't care that you see this is happening. I am tired. I am at my wit's end. I give zero fucks. Okay, so, and then from there, I have to go to I do have a point to all of this. This is just saying why I feel so bad. And of course I feel bad. I feel like I've re-traumatized the cat like for the second time in like, you know, 3 to 4 days or something like that. Like this cat is, you know, was it a big mistake? All of that. So I'm suffering in that way. Yeah. And then I have a really important meeting to go to that I cannot be late for. And long story short, I didn't realize I was going to the wrong address or something, and I'm late for it. So I'm crying on the way to that, right? Pull up, you know, meeting goes really well and everything. It was a really great meeting and everything. So, you know, then we pick up the cat later in the day. Arden, again, is you know, recapping and just dying laughing at how, you know, frantic I was and everything. And you know, I can't help it. If something's funny, I'm a fucking laugh, especially if it's me. So, you know, I can laugh and everything, but I still feel the soreness from, you know, happy people, baby. I still feel the soreness in my chest from the earlier day. When we picked up the cat, you know, she immediately ran back under the couch and everything, and has not come out since. And it's like, will she ever come out again? All of that. So there's all that suffering. The thing of it is, though, while I have felt sad, because I was, quote unquote, with myself the entire time, I haven't suffered that I am suffering. It hasn't felt like this should not be happening. And so there's a kind of peace and calm, despite it truly being a horrendous fucking time. There's a deep okayness that I'm noticing, and I'm actually like surprised by it. But that's what happens when you just really just keep saying, because even on the way, you know, to my meeting, when I realized I was at the wrong location, I was the one person to be late for it and everything, when I had really made a point to be on time and even a little bit early, what I said was, yes, this is what is happening. Yes, this is what is happening. And if I know that I've done my best, then it's like, this is exactly the way things want to be right now. And the smartest thing I can do right now, I don't want to say smartest, the most helpful thing I can do right now is just let this moment be. Let this moment be. And just say, you know, so as I'm feeling awful, I'm saying, hi, I feel awful. Hi, I can't believe this happened. Hi, I am appalled, you know. Hi, why did it have to happen this way? All of that. Just being friendly as I can toward the moment. And actually something I said, again, while I'm crying on the way to the meeting is, yes, I'm crying. Yes, I'm probably going to walk in with red eyes, you know. And I did. And I was like, and yes, this is exactly the way I don't want to present myself right now, is late and crying or late and red eyes. This is exactly what I don't want to be happening, right? And then also, I didn't want it to be the case that the cat thing had been so, like, it was so bad that she leapt up on the counter. And this is a cat who knows she's in a black household. She don't be leaping up on no goddamn counters. Don't be doing that shit. So she doesn't do that, but she was so desperate that she left up on the counter onto the refrigerator, and she slipped off the refrigerator, and everything came down off the refrigerator because she landed on some papers and fell, and it was just a really, really terrible. It was fucking terrible. And even with all of that, as I was feeling terrible, I was like, you should feel terrible right now. It's fucking terrible right now. Of course you feel terrible right now, you know? Why wouldn't you feel terrible right now? And that's what I was saying to myself as it was happening, as I'm crying, as I'm literally just screaming, fuck, at the top of my lungs. It's like, of course I'm fucking upset right now. Because of course I feel crazy right now because this is a crazy making fucking situation. And because of that, what I'm seeing more and more, and I do see this, a lot, but it was just helpful to see today that we don't suffer because bad things are happening or things that we don't want to happen are happening. We suffer because we just have this automatic idea that a thing should not be happening. It should not be happening. But when we'll say to it, yes, this is what's happening, and yes, this is how you feel about it, Yes, you're really upset. I can understand why you would feel this way without trying to change it, not trying to, change anything. Then there's just like a peace that's there. I'm not divided within myself. And there's the peace. I don't feel divided within myself because I don't feel like it should not be happening. One more thing that I think is helpful too is that I have been experimenting with kind of letting go my schedule. Or scheduling the things that are the healthy, good things that I do for myself. So I wake up each day and I just see what happens, basically. I just let what the day is going to be. And I'll say, gosh, I really want to, go to the gym today, or I really want to do this pleasure practice, or I really want to, buy flowers or whatever. And I really make it known. Life, Goddess, God, whoever's up there right now, guardian angels, everybody's on my team. This is really what I would love to have happen today. And then I just see what happens. I'll end up doing that, or else I'll end up doing something else that is like, oh, I didn't even think that was going to happen. Now, of course, I have my schedule, in terms of scheduled activity, meetings that I have to do, sessions that I get to do, and that kind of thing. But in terms of the things that it's this idea of being disciplined and being, doing it every day. And I do think there's value in having habits that you do every day. I do think there's value in that. I do think there's value in discipline. I just think that there's something beyond discipline even, and that is your body's kind of natural, intuitive, they talk about intuitive eating. I think that there's intuitive time and intuitive scheduling that your body has rhythms and seasons, and your body knows what you can and what you can and can't do, what's going to feel good to your body on a given day. What really your body has best capacity for on any given day. I think there is that. And that's what I've been experimenting with. One of my pleasure teachers, Regina Thomashire, aka Mama Gina, she calls it pleasure research. And I love that term even more than saying I'm experimenting, because research just sounds like it just has this more kind of deeper, kind of firmer, it's really legit what I'm doing to try this thing out. And what it gave me today, again, was a sense of, nope, nothing went wrong. It's just the way that it went. And Eckhart Tolle has this thing that he says, in his first book, The Power of Now, he has this question answer format, and the unseen questioner is saying, well, what if the present moment is, he's saying, stay in the present moment, be with the present moment, which is, essentially what I'm practicing. And the questioner says, well, what if the present moment is awful? And then Eckhart Tolle says, the present moment is as the present moment is. It is as it is, Eckhart and his accent and everything. And that kind of used to get on my nerves, but now I kind of see, if I don't have this thing that I have, all these intentions and plans that I have for the day, if it ends up being a horrendous day, like today, it doesn't feel like that shouldn't have happened. Because that is where the suffering is. The suffering isn't in it happened, the horrendous thing happened. the cat, good Lord, this sweet little cat, It's not that happened, that's the suffering. It's that kind of is so automatic. It's so ingrained. This should not be happening. This shouldn't have happened. I could have done something different. I couldn't have done something different, because if I could have done something different, then something different would have happened. If the day could have gone differently, then the day would have gone differently. And obviously, you don't have to try this out with, like a really big grief situation or something where it's just, something is really fresh and all that. But like there is room to practice. There is room to try it out in terms of, horrendous is part of being in the flow as well. It is it's a valid part of life for shit to be fucking horrendous sometimes, and that's my sense of even joy. And I felt it even as I was crying and driving, even as I was looking at the vet tech who was, like being very aware not to acknowledge that I'm like, I wasn't sobbing, but I was visibly like crying and everything. And, it's just like, yes, this is what's happening. This is where I'm at with mine. And what? And it wasn't like a, so what? It was like I'm fully here with myself. I'm so fully here with myself that I don't even have room for this shouldn't be happening. I'm just here with yes, it is happening. And you're right, you do feel awful, So I'm taking my horrendous ass to, like once, even horrendous stuff has an ebb and flow, Good moments become bad moments, become good moments, become bad moments. Until it really is all just moments, right? And that's what this horrendous day feels like. It feels like this is what this day wanted to be. This is what this day wanted to be. And yes, I did happen to be able to see some triggers which gave it even more, I got to see how all the suffering I was doing with the cat is a trigger. And anytime you're suffering like that, there's always a trigger involved. But you don't have to worry about that. Even if you don't feel a trigger, just the fact that you're willing to let a horrendous day or let a horrendous situation really be horrendous, that takes away the sense of it should not be horrendous. It should not be like this. And then there is no being out of the flow. There is no, there's less and less sense of, okay, I'm in the flow. It's like, oh shit, I'm out of it. I gotta get back in. No, you don't. Wherever you are, there is the flow. Because, the truth is, we are the flow. Or rather, the flow loves us so much. The flow loves us so much. But it's not that the flow leaves us, it's that we leave the flow by saying this shouldn't be happening. And when we'll just say, yes, bitch, yes, this horrendous ass shit that you did not plan for is really fucking happening, then, it becomes okay. It becomes okay. So that's what I wanted to say while I was thinking about it. Deuces.